Hi friends, it's Gwen, and I thought I would share some of the books that I've been reading this week. I did decide to participate in the Bout of Books 11 Read-A-Thon, and it's been quite a week for me. I'm pretty happy with the results. I wish I would have finished the book that I was reading last night before I went to bed, but I stopped reading it to watch The Leftovers, and then I read for about 30 minutes before time was up. But if I would have stopped and just recorded the show, I probably would have finished the book. But nonetheless, I'm very happy with my results, and I thought I would share with you. So when I decided to join the Bout of Books 11 Read-A-Thon, I came up with 3 goals. And those 3 goals were to read daily, to read a genre I haven't read this year, and to read 3 books. And I did read daily. Even though I was busy a couple of the days, I got only a little bit of reading done. But to me, during this read-a-thon, it was just important to read, to me, a page a day. I probably should have listened to my audiobook a little bit more, like maybe when I was going places and stuff like that, which I didn't, because I don't actually have the CDs. I lend them to my mom, so I only have my iPod. So for this, for I'd Know You Anywhere by Laura Lippman, I only listened to about 2 chapters. I'm assuming it was like 2 chapters. I know for sure I read a little, or I listened to a little bit more than 1 chapter. So I wasn't as successful in that, but now on to the books. The first book that I read satisfied the genre that I have not read this year. And to be honest, I can't really remember the last time that I read this genre, and that is historical nonfiction. The book that I read for this is Havre De Grace, The War in 1812 by Heidi L. Glatzfelter. And I actually met this author when I was visiting my parents this summer, and I figured if I spent the money to buy the book, which was $20, then I should go ahead and read the book. So I actually read it, and I was glad that I did. I really did enjoy it. Not my favorite genre by a long shot, but I learned a lot of cool things, and I loved the pictures in the book. Some that are from, Libraries of Congress or something like that, and then some that the author took herself when she was writing the book. So I really did enjoy that aspect of it, but I probably won't be reading another historical nonfiction for a while. I had my fix. The second book that I read was Sweethearts by Sarah Zarr, and I absolutely loved this book. I found it at a thrift store, so it's secondhand, but I am so happy with this book. I flew through it, so it's a skinny book, but I was glad to, get through it, I guess, because it just made me feel like, okay, I'm on a roll, because it did take me a while. Even though Havre De Grace is a pretty thin book, it took me a while to get through it. I think I spent my first day of the read-a-thon reading that book, and then I woke up the next day and I was still reading it, but I finished it. So it took me a while to get through it, but I did, and then I flew through this one. Okay, now the third book that I planned to read was The Intimates by Ralph Seswan, and I got 52 pages into it, and I couldn't read another page if you forced it down my throat. The book did not hold my attention, and I literally spent an entire day, maybe 2, trying just to get to page 52, and yeah, it wasn't happening. So I ended up abandoning this book. And I was like, okay, I can't give up on this read-a-thon. I have to still keep reading. I can't be stuck at 2 books. So I picked up an author that I have fallen in love with, and yeah. So I picked up Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and of course, it absolutely did not disappoint. So good, so good, so good. If you haven't read it, I don't know what you're waiting for. So good, so good. But yeah, so I finished that, and that was really my 3 books. I completed my historical, Havre De Grace. I completed Sweethearts by Sarah Zarr, and then I read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. So those were my 3 books. But I was doing such a good job after that I kept going, and I picked up another book that I got at a secondhand thrift store that's relatively thin, because I didn't know. I was like, my eyes, I can't believe I'm still reading at this point. I picked up this Cum Laude by Cecile von Siegsar. I don't know how to say her last name, but as you can see, she wrote the Gossip Girl series, and I have not read that series, but I have watched it on Netflix. I love it. I don't know, it's like that guilty pleasure thing. But anyway, I read this book. To be honest, it has a lot of bad reviews on Goodreads, and I can see why. I rated it a 2 stars, even though it was kind of about this girl going to a liberal arts college, and I loved the college life, but the characters weren't really developed well enough for me, and I felt like the stuff that happened wasn't believable, and there's drugs in it, okay, and the drug scenes and stuff like that, like they talked about pot and ether and ecstasy, and the pot, okay, let's just be honest, the pot, the experiences that they had from doing it was like, I don't really think that happens. But whatever. And then the ether was just crazy, like, I don't even know. And then, well, it was actually the ecstasy first. But it just, I don't know, it was just weird. It felt forced. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I think that's like a mistake. Like, I don't think those words were supposed to be said like that. I felt like maybe the book wasn't edited as well as it could have been. I don't know. I mean, overall, it wasn't horrible. I didn't like hate it, throw it in the trash, you know, type thing. But I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I'm glad I read it though, because that put me at number 4. Yay! Then I was like, okay, what do I buy, or what do I read next? And I didn't want to start a trilogy or a series or anything like that, so I picked up a standalone, and for that I picked up Love Letters to the Dead. I did not complete this book. This is the one that I'm bummed I didn't finish last night. As you can see, I'm right here. So I am on page 292 of 323. So yeah, I seriously almost completed it. During this read-a-thon, I did one afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, I helped one of my sorority sisters move into her new place. That was for about 5 hours, and then that I could have been reading within that time, because that's what I had set aside the afternoon to do, but then she asked me for help, and I couldn't say no to my sister. And then yesterday, Sunday, I spent all day from like 10 o'clock until maybe 5 o'clock at night hiking the back trails of North Carolina, and my fiance and I also went to look at a couple of campgrounds for this fall, because we're going to hopefully go camping. And yeah, so if I would have just spent another 10 minutes reading, I probably could have finished, but I wanted to be honest and stop the clock at 11:59 and say, okay, this is actually what I read. Obviously, I'll finish this book today. I'm really enjoying it. It's got mixed reviews, but I'm one of the people that's going to give it a thumbs up. And so yeah, that's what I read during the Bout of Books 11 Read-A-Thon. What did you read? Did you participate? The next Bout of Books for Bout of Books 12 Read-A-Thon begins on January 5th and runs to January 11th, and I don't know if I'm going to be participating in that one because I don't know when the spring semester starts, and I've decided that I do not want to do a read-a-thon at the very end. Like, this was my last week before school, so today the fall 2014 semester started, and I feel like I could have done so many other things if I wasn't concentrating on my reading. But, I mean, I loved it, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I could have done so much more if I wasn't participating in it. or if I wasn't, I mean, I wanted to be successful in my first read-a-thon, so I continue to do them, so. But anyway, that's my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.